The man who built the system you can't escape. The illusion of choice. Next time you fill up your car, take a look at the price. Then drive down the street to the next station. The price is basically the same, isn't it? Maybe a penny difference. You are told you live in a free market. You are told competition drives down prices. But what if that competition is an illusion? What if the entire structure of our modern economy isn't a free market, but a carefully designed system? A system built over 150 years ago by one man. A man who didn't just want to win the game, he wanted to own the board. This is the story of John D. Rockefeller and how he built the cage we all still live in today. Part 1. The Origin of the Blueprint. To understand the system, you have to understand the architect. John D. Rockefeller was born in 1839. His father was a literal con artist, a traveling snake oil salesman who taught his son to be ruthless. His mother was a deeply pious, strict Christian. In 1859, the oil rush hit America. It was chaos. Thousands flocked to drill wells hoping to get rich quick. It was gambling. Young Rockefeller saw the chaos and realized something crucial. The money wasn't in the drilling. Drilling was risky. The power was in the refining, turning crude oil into the kerosene that lit the world's lamps. If you control the refining bottleneck, you control the industry. Part 2. The Method. Integration and Consolidation. Rockefeller didn't just build a better refinery. He invented the modern corporate playbook. The first step was vertical integration. Other refineries bought barrels, paid for trains, and used third-party warehouses. Rockefeller realized these were middlemen eating his profits. So, he bought his own forests to make his own barrels. He bought his own tanker cars. He built his own warehouses. He controlled every step of the supply chain, making his costs drastically lower than anyone else's. But his dirtiest weapon was the railroads. Because he shipped so much oil, he forced the railroads into secret deals. Not only did he get massive rebates for shipping his oil, but he also forced the railroads to pay him a fee every time they shipped his competitors' oil. He rigged the game. Next came horizontal integration. By 1872, he launched what historians call the Cleveland Massacre. He went to his competitors with a simple offer: sell your refinery to me in exchange for Standard Oil stock or be destroyed. If they refused, he used his lower costs and secret railroad rebates to drop the price of kerosene below the cost of production in their specific area. He would bleed money just long enough to bankrupt them, then buy their assets for pennies on the dollar. In 3 months, he took over 22 of his 26 competitors in Cleveland. Part 3. The Trust and the Modern Monster. His solution changed corporate history forever. The trust. He created a legal loophole where a small group of trustees held the stock of dozens of supposedly independent companies across the country. This was the birth of the modern holding company structure. Does that sound familiar? Think of Alphabet, the parent company that owns Google, YouTube, and DeepMind. Think of Meta, owning Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. It's the Rockefeller blueprint 150 years later. Part 4. The Illusion of Breakup. By 1911, the government finally stepped in. The Supreme Court ruled Standard Oil was an illegal monopoly and ordered it broken into 34 separate companies. It seemed like Rockefeller had lost. But here is the greatest twist in business history. Rockefeller owned shares in all 34 new companies. As these new companies began to trade freely on the stock market, their value exploded. The breakup didn't ruin Rockefeller. It made him the richest man in modern history. Conclusion. Living in his world. John D. Rockefeller died in 1937, but the machine he built is running perfectly. Look at Amazon. They don't just sell goods, they own the warehouses, the delivery network, and the cloud infrastructure, AWS, that their competitors run on. That is Rockefeller's vertical integration. Look at Google. They give you free services in exchange for your data, cornering 90% of the search market. That is a modern monopoly that regulators can't figure out how to break. They give you free services in exchange for your data, cornering 90% of the search market. That is a modern monopoly that regulators can't figure out how to break. The first step to not being just a pawn in their game is to see the board.